Hey everybody, before we start, please do me a solid and follow the Instagram page for our newest charity named Cats Without Humans Foundation. The goal of this charity is to build more protected sanctuaries for stray animals and other wildlife throughout Central and South America. Join us in our efforts to create change. Now back to the scheduled programming.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Costa Rica, the country my father is from, a place of majestic creatures, great energy, one of the most biodiverse compilation of ecosystems on the planet, and a very questionable government. But what country doesn't have a questionable government? Am I right? Although Costa Rica is indeed pura vida, it has always had its fair share of economic and racial troubles. Today, we are going to focus on the economic plights of a tropical paradise.
It's modern generation every day, the people getting smarter. I say this modern generation every day, the people getting smarter. They made me to understand, but to be like cabin in the water. The people made me to understand, but to be like cabin in the water. Oh, the cabin in the water, Mr. Bato was the hatter. He was a fine constructor, really never knew the bugger was a builder. Oh, the cabin and the
Upon arrival in Costa Rica, there will be several things that you notice. To start, it's very hot here. There are beautiful women everywhere, everyone is welcoming, all the cars are old, and the cost of some things just make absolutely no sense. The cost of rental cars, clothes, Ubers, ATM fees, and various other things seem drastically high in comparison to renting homes, food, tolls, gas, etc. Part of the issue is the banks. The exchange rate from USD to the local CRC, or Colonize, is constantly changing. This instability leaves an opportunity for banks in Costa Rica to take advantage of their clients by using their own exchange rates and pocketing the extra money on every transaction. I actually tested this theory with a friend. I sent $100 to myself using Western Union, which has a very reliable exchange rate system due to the Western Union empire operating in nearly every country. But when I withdrew the money, it came out to be 52 mil, or 52,000 colones. My friend went to his local bank, I won't say the name because they all operate the same, and he withdrew $100 in colones. He was given 56 mil, or 56,000 colones. I entered 56,000 colones into Western Union, and it showed me the conversion came out to $112. Are you following? How many of you have ever visited Costa Rica, arranged a rental car, and when you went to pick up the car, it was at least $100 more than what you were quoted? What I just explained is the reason why. Now you may ask, how does a country that is considered paradise, has a blue zone, and considerably constant flow of tourism have such an unstable economy? Well, it's a mixture of things. First is politicians that protect their own private interests, of course, gringos that take advantage and exploit the economic flaws of the countries, a few other factors in the recipe, and then we have China. What role does China have in all this? Well, it's actually very hard to have a serious conversation about Costa Rica without bringing up China and the company Maersk, or however you pronounce the name. But we'll talk about them in a later video. Let's get back to China. Good old China. A place with its own hidden beauties like rice fields, cool mountains, and other worldly attractions, and like everywhere else, a very questionable government. A leader in production of a plethora of things that range from useful to absolutely useless, like this banana smuggler. A country that was knocked down and then kicked again and again and again, and you get the picture. Until one day they were able to do the unthinkable and remove every foreign concession from their country, which I actually applaud them for. There are many countries trying to do the same exact thing for themselves right now. However, somewhere along the line, China decided to wage a Cold War on the world. While the US invested citizens' tax dollars in genocides across the world, China has decided to take a more civil approach to world domination. In 2013, China unleashed an $8 trillion global economic colonization plan, and they named it Belt and Road Initiative. Some of you may be familiar with this global infrastructure concession plan, and others may not. The plan itself may seem harmless, even symbiotic on the surface, but when you look deeper into the actions, you start to notice many red flags. In fact, there are so many red flags, you start to wonder, how did everyone miss this? And then you start to realize, oh, these MFers are in on it too. Imagine willfully selling out your country and still getting screwed over in the end. I won't name names yet. So Costa Rican politicians, you have some time to get it together. Now back to China. Bridges, roads, ports, and tunnels being built across 3 continents in 60 plus countries in an attempt to dominate global trade and become the world's next United States. Suddenly, all of the world's issues start to make a little more sense. Everyone is just fighting to be on top as a superpower as the US starts to lose its position. Most of the top construction companies in the world right now are Chinese companies due to this massive project. Importing Chinese workers in many parts of the world to build railway systems, ports, fiber optic networks, naval bases, and a plethora of other things to make trade to and from China more easy. They pull this off by offering billions of dollars to have less restrictions on ethical guidelines set by any given country. They have no prejudice in who they work with either, striking deals with some of the most corrupt countries in the world. Why does China lend to these countries? Well, it's very simple. These countries are high risk. The countries end up defaulting and having to give control of the infrastructures built to China. This has already happened in Pakistan and Sri Lanka and other countries sharing the Arabian Sea. As of now, China owns many different infrastructures such as roads, ports, naval bases, and much more around the world with 33 plus year concessions. Now the Chinese government has its eyes set on the Caribbean, and the Caribbean is under siege. Now, before we go over the issues here in Costa Rica with China, keep in mind these issues mirror the same issues many other countries in the Caribbean are experiencing with China. I want to make it very, very clear that this video does not reflect the actual Chinese population that lives in the Caribbean. Many of them are born and raised in the Caribbean, and their elders left China to escape things like communism, poverty, etc. They deserve respect. And now to the problem at hand. The China Harbor Engineering Company, which is really just China Communication Construction Group, which has been involved in many fraudulent activities across several countries and is responsible for the poorly designed highway expansion of Route 32. Intended to be a 4-lane expansion from San Jose, the capital, to Limon, the largest province and main port of Costa Rica, this highway is now causing a slew of environmental hazards ranging from ecosystems being destroyed, wildlife dying left and right, daily car accidents, and it's now affecting the drinking water of many locals. So basically, China loaned Costa Rica $400 million for this 107-kilometer long liability to be completed within a 20-year time frame. We're talking about a major highway with maybe 2 pedestrian bridges and every other crosswalk at ground level. There's random sharp turns, unfinished bridges everywhere, confusing traffic signs, and unclear speed limits. This road is an absolute nightmare. And remember how I joked about selling out your country and then getting screwed over in the end? Well, it wasn't a joke. This is a very consistent trend with countries that deal with the China Communication Construction Group. I really hope no one tries to unalive me for exposing this in so much depth, but the project is comically 50% behind schedule. The China Communication Construction Company, or Group, whatever you want to call them, they're currently facing accusations of bribery, substandard construction, exploitation of workers, illegally paid commissions, irregular sale of property titles, contract irregularities, terrible communication, and much more, spanning across several countries and several continents. This construction group is causing a literal ecological disaster. Aside from the highway itself ripping through important forests, protected areas, and important water sources, within a year, over 1,000 animals were killed trying to cross the highway, which is an unprecedented number for a country that takes so much pride in its wildlife and ecosystems. We're not talking about deer, birds, squirrels, or the typical game animals that are overpopulated. This highway is putting many of Costa Rica's most beloved animals, such as the three-toed sloth, the armadillo, the bullfrog, and many others, some even on the endangered list, at risk daily. As time goes on, the losses keep building up. This may be the biggest fuck up by the China Communication Construction Group yet. With each delay, Limon and Costa Rica itself falls into a deeper hole. Set back by a major earthquake in 1991 that refaced much of the coastal province, today 80% of the imports and exports are moving through the Limon province, and some may consider it the heart of Costa Rica. It is apparent that more losses are to come in the foreseeable future. In the past, there were talks of design adjustments, but as time goes on, it seems that Limon will be getting a wish version of what it was originally promised. And can you believe, with all of that, we're just barely scratching the surface of the issues here. We haven't even gone over the issues between the indigenous tribes of Costa Rica and the government. That's also affecting the country's success. So it's safe to say I'm gonna have to make a bunch more videos. Now, some of you may be asking, what can you do to help? Well, one thing you can do is visit Costa Rica, and visit many times. Spend as much money as you can with local business owners here, and please like and subscribe. Your sub actually helps us get one step closer to creating more tangible changes within society. I live here in Costa Rica and do many charity events that you can check out on the channel. So anyone watching this is invited to anything we may have going on here at any time. In the description is a donation link to help my family, friends, and I restore Limon. The money will be used to support local businesses, families, and to restore infrastructures without having to rely on sketchy construction companies. I hope this reaches you all well. Pura vida. Oh, and if it's not too much to ask, do me a favor and follow the Instagram page for our newest charity named Cats Without Humans Foundation. The goal of this charity is to build more protected sanctuaries for stray animals and other wildlife throughout Central and South America. So join us in our efforts to create change. And once again, pura vida.
Now the lady was getting hot when she see the building in the sea, jumping like red peas, whiling in pot, and she tell him to pull it on immediately. Yes, the lady was getting hot when she see the cabin in the sea, jumping like red peas, whiling in pot, and she tell him to pull it on immediately. I say, the cabin in the water, Mr. Bata was the hotter. He was a fine constructor, really never knew the bugger was a